The stories shared on It Takes Balls are unique to the individual sharing. Always speak with your trusted medical provider for treatment options specific to you. Welcome back to It Takes Balls, presented by Testicular Cancer Awareness Foundation. Today I'm joined by a college student. Hunter Addy is joining me. Hunter, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So yeah, you're a college student. You're a testicular cancer survivor. What led up to your diagnosis?
So it started, I think my third day of college, I was here, and I'm like avid in the gym, like always have been. And so I came back from the gym and was taking a shower, and like at home I use like a loofah to wash myself, so like never like really feel myself. But then here I didn't have one, so I was just washing myself, and I like immediately noticed like it didn't feel correct. And then progressively over, say about the next week, I went and got it checked out at the campus health here, and they told me it was most likely just an infection of the epididymis, which I had previously had before, so I wasn't really that worried. But then progressively, like I would go to the gym and I do like certain exercises, and I could like feel like my like I could feel just like a compression there, and it didn't feel right. And then eventually, I was like, okay, enough is enough. I think it was like 3 weeks. I kind of like was like pushing more and more to like go to like the ER or something like that, get checked out. And so eventually I did. And then I went to the ER down here in New Orleans, and that's where they diagnosed me. Say it was probably about 3 hours, like longest 3 hours of my life. It was just straight drag. And so then I got diagnosed here, and then had it removed, I think 2 days later. I got diagnosed on Labor Day, and then 2 days later on Wednesday, had it removed. And then through that period of time, I was staying off campus, still doing my schoolwork. Then I want to say about 6 days later, I had a CAT scan, and they told me I need like 4 rounds of chemotherapy, which seemed like absurd to me because I had known people who had cancer and they had far later stages than me and had either that amount or less amounts of chemo radiation. So I was like, especially my parents were like, oh, we got to get a second opinion. So then I flew back to Connecticut and then went to MSK and Dana-Farber, and they told me completely different stuff than them, which I was very thankful for. And they were like, oh, we can give you a bunch of options here, such as the Replan surgery that I ended up doing, or like 1 round of adjunct chemotherapy. And then I think I went back to school after that about a week later, which was, so I finished up my semester, and then I had the Replan surgery in December, and then came back to school after all that. I delayed like coming back like 2 weeks after the semester started, which was fine. Most of my professors were okay with that. And then, yeah, since then, everything's been pretty much just scans and normal, like keeping surveillance on it.
Well, let's go back to the very beginning there. So you said it was like your third day on campus?
Yeah, it was my third day on campus. Like my parents literally had just left the day before.
Oh my gosh.
My roommate hadn't even moved in yet.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, okay, so you said Connecticut, you're down in Louisiana. I mean,
Yeah.
what's that like being so far from home and getting this scary news?
I think, yeah, I was genuinely like terrified. I think genuinely. And then my parents flew down immediately, which was very like, I was very thankful for that they flew down immediately. So it wasn't, at least going through that surgery, I wasn't that scared. I was definitely more scared for the Replan surgery, even though like they told me the chance of having like cancer in the lymph nodes was very low. I was still like more scared of that than the actual surgery my parents came down here for, honestly.
So I know you put in your submission, and I've talked with your mom a little bit. She mentioned the what you said to your Uber driver. So do you want to expand on what you said to your Uber driver when you found out the news?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of funny. I mean I'm just kind of blunt with it, I guess, to everyone. Like I've been blunt with all my friends that I've ever asked about it. They're always like, "Oh, what happened?" I just tell them flat out. But the Uber driver picked me up and was like, not having a good day because she was like assuming I'm a college kid that probably was just out drinking the night before and like getting my stomach pumped or something. But then I was like, oh, I just got diagnosed with cancer, and she was just like astonished that I said that, and I was just like, I mean, I don't know how else to put it. Like that, I'm just really blown with it because I don't know, like, in my opinion, stuff just happens. So like, I don't know how to like, kind of like, what's the word? Like, elude people into it and like not just like be blown with it. Just not something I'm like given, I guess.
Yeah, no worries. Did you give her 5 stars?
Yeah, yeah, she got 5 stars and a $2 tip.
Nice. Okay. Did she give you 5 stars?
I don't even know. Hopefully.
All right. So, okay. So, you said they initially thought it was epididymitis, which you'd had before. When you first felt it, did it actually feel like that to you, like what you'd had before? Or did it feel different?
It felt different. Like when I had epididymitis, I was playing baseball and it felt like someone had like literally just stabbed me. Like it literally felt like someone was stabbing me when I had it. This was like a dull pain, a dull ache whenever I touched it. And then it felt like it just felt like a growth. Like you could honestly just tell it was a growth. So like it didn't feel like that at all because epididymitis was like I also couldn't feel the epididymitis. It was more just a brutal stabbing pain, and I thought I had like a testicular torsion when I had epididymitis that one time because I had been playing baseball for like 3 hours, and I just assumed that's what it was because my friend had it before from playing baseball, so he's like, "Oh, go get it checked out immediately."
Interesting. All right. So this was, as we mentioned, like very earlier in your semester. You said you finished the semester?
Yeah, I finished that semester out. I had to drop one class just because I missed the midterm for it, and they weren't willing to work with me on it, but I was okay with that.
Geez, that's kind of crazy. They wouldn't work with you.
Yeah, it was just because I missed the one midterm and then I had missed two labs already. I guess so they just said I couldn't do it, but it's fine with me. I ended up doing 14 credits, so and then this semester I'm on 17, so still like on pace to graduate normally.
Nice. And did the orchiectomy at all hinder like getting around campus or anything, or were you able to kind of do remote classes?
I went home like I want to say 5 days after that, and did uh my professors just sent me the work because I emailed all of them, and the dean of students at Tulane was great about it and like kind of facilitated discussion with each professor to work with that, and then the hurricane and like New Orleans had kind of happened that week, which is kind of perfect, I guess. Like not perfect, but for me at least because they moved three out of the five classes that week online, so it definitely helped me out because I was able to just do online school for a little bit and still kind of stay on pace. And then a lot of the courses were intro anyways, like intro to chem. I've already taken AP chem, and then we'll just literally copy and paste college one chem, and then same thing with intro to cell bio, which is copy and paste. So the professors knew I had already done a lot of the work. So they're like, oh, this won't be hard to work with you at all about it. Like I came in right after and did like extra office hours to each of them just to kind of like catch up on the material, but it wasn't that bad, I'd say.
Man, the man's a genius. All right. So getting that news that, you were going to need 4 rounds of chemo, what was that like initially? And then I know you went and got your second and third opinions, but I mean, mentally, what did that do to you when you thought you were going to have to go through that?
I think that was very hard. Mentally, it was like kind of really draining, but at the same time, I was kind of like, in like my opinion, I from listening to my parents, what they were saying to me, like none of us really thought I would need that because of like what all the information we had like read up to at that point was not leading us in that direction, and we thought like the person who told me that was a children's oncologist. So we like in our like looking at it from our perspective, we were thinking like, oh, she probably hasn't dealt with this like specialized cancer institutes like MSK or Dana-Farber. So it was a lot like it was definitely really hard at first because like I was like there is that possibility I guess in my head, but then at the same time I was like kind of being realistic with myself, being like this seems a little much for stage one testicular cancer. So like I was kind of like I don't really think it's I like being realistic. I wasn't thinking that it wasn't gonna be four. I thought I was gonna eventually have to get chemo, but I'm glad I didn't. But it was like a possibility in my mind at least. So that like did take a toll on me, I guess.
And what's the support system been like for you down in New Orleans away from Connecticut? Do you have like existing friends there? Did you go down there with some friends from high school?
I went down here with no friends. No one from my school went down here. I was told a lot of people from Connecticut come to Tulane, but I met one person, which is I guess is really funny. I guess I met one person and I work with him, so I guess it was just kind of like random. But the first I want to say week here, I got a really good group of friends just from like my intro to like Tulane kind of. I can't think of what they called it, but whatever our orientation group was, they introduced us all, and then I got two friends from that, and then kind of just like grew and grew. So I have like a good group of friends here who know all about it. They kind of support me through it. I have a friend that would gym with me at like through the first semester when I was just getting back into it after the surgery, and then he came back when I started getting back from the Repline surgery again to like kind of help me through that. So that's been really helpful.
Nice. Okay. And I hope they're all checking themselves after what you've been through.
Yeah.
Are there opportunities for you on campus to raise awareness?
Um, I know there are some people on campus that have also had testicular cancer. So like I've been like the dean of students has like connected me with them just to like talk to them about it, like and have like a support group in that sense. I mean, I don't think there's kind of like a way to talk about it here, at least. I mean, trying to think. I honestly don't think there is like a way to like talk about it. I mean, possibly discussions about it like could be raised. I know um we have like this journal that goes on the stalls in each like communal bathroom, and then like the bathrooms in like our public areas that like kind of like February they like put like sexual assault awareness stuff like that up, and they put like that stuff up. So maybe like that could be a way, in my opinion, I think at least that like you could raise awareness, but especially in, like the men's bathrooms, you could do that.
Yeah. Hey, let us know if you need any materials and we'd be glad to send it to you. All right. So you're saying Repline, you're talking about the RPL&D. You went to Sloan for that, or did you also consult with, Dana-Farber, you said, for the RPL&D?
I went to Sloan. Sloan is where my doctors are.
Okay. And you ended up with who there?
Metalevich.
Nice. And what was your experience like with him?
He was amazing. He checked on me, I think, almost every day that I want to say like every other day that I like the first day of the surgery, he was there, second day. And then his, what's the word? His resident came in a couple of the days to check on me. The resident was always there. He checked on me every day, but I'd say Metalevich was there. I'd say 4 out of the 6 days I think I was there. And he's been phenomenal through it all. Answers any questions I have. Like if I ever need anything, I always just like text the number on MSK's patient portal, and he responds like in about like 4 hours, I'd say, depending on what he's doing that day. But he was amazing through it all. Surgery went as well as I expected with him. So yeah.
Were you given the option by Sloan or Dana-Farber to do like maybe one round of chemo or the RPL&D, or was it straight up RPL&D was the option?
Yeah, I was given the option. I think both of them gave me the same option pretty much of RPL&D, then one round of adjunct chemotherapy, and then surveillance. And they all were like kind of back and forth about it, but I know MSK was more leaning to the RPL&D, which is I listen to them because like they've seen a lot of this and they have dedicated doctors to it. So I listened to what they were saying and saying like, oh, if you do this, it lowers your chances tremendously. And like it is a very difficult surgery to get through, but like looking at it comparatively to doing like ending up getting like a relapse of the cancer down the road, it's more debilitating to do the chemo than it is to do the surgery the one time and go from there.
So is that a pretty easy decision for you, or did you spend some time thinking about the options?
I think I sat on that decision for, they told me in September. I think I sat on it until October, like 20th or something. That took me a while to sit on just because like it was going to put me out of like doing anything for like 12 weeks. I couldn't do any physical activity or anything like that. So like that was really hard to like kind of like contemplate and get through.
Yeah. So, okay. So you were up in New York for this, again, away from school. So were you able to continue doing, or this is probably the end of the semester, right? Cause you were in December.
Yeah, this was like, the surgery was on the 13th of December, which was my, the week of finals for me that time. So it was like perfectly situated where I could, I came home for Thanksgiving break, and then instead of going back for the final exams, one of my classes had an online final. My chem professor, I emailed, and he told me I didn't even need to take the final. He was like, with the curve, you'll end up getting an A anyway. So he's like, I don't feel the need to give you one. And then I took my cell exam online, and then my other class was a paper. So it was like the perfect storm of like, oh, I can kind of get through this. This semester, I wouldn't be able to do that. This semester, I had like 5 finals. But it worked out perfectly for that. And then I did miss 2 weeks of the spring semester, but they were only the syllabus week and then the week after, which is when the snowstorm in New Orleans happened. So again, school was online for 4 days. So
Yeah.
it worked out for my favor again.
So let's talk more about your RPLND experience. Were you able to get kind of back to normal life pretty quickly, or did you take some time to recover?
Um, I I think the first 2 weeks were miserable. Those were awful. Like trying like the first week because the surgery had just happened. That was bad. Learning to like rewalk again and stuff like that was really bad. And then the next week, kind of like pacing myself into walking more and more and more. And then also the fact I couldn't really eat anything made it worse. And then third week things started to pick up and it kind of like got a little bit better. And then when I came back to school, that was um that was a little difficult, like because here I walk probably 5 to 6 miles a day, back and forth to class and stuff. Um, so that was kind of hard, I'd say, like especially like took a toll on my like physical health. But I'd say I started to like fully feel normal again. The like I want to say the second week after they cleared me, so 14 weeks after surgery, I started to feel normal again when I started going to the gym and then being like my active normal self. So it did take a while, but I genuinely think it was worth it in the long run.
So 14 weeks out of December, that's pretty recent, right? Was that like maybe March or?
Yeah, that was the third week of March was when it, like I felt like pretty much almost back like health wise I was back to normal. I felt like.
Gotcha. Okay. What's your surveillance been like, having been treated at Sloan and then now back down in New Orleans?
Surveillance has been. I've only had what's it? I only went back the first week of March to like have a scan done. That was the only first time I've done it, and then I go I think in like 5 weeks I think for my next scan. But it all to me feels pretty like spaced out and like feels like they're doing the necessary things to um like keep it monitored and stuff like that. Um, I know when I was first getting surveillance between having the orchiectomy and then the Replin surgery, I was getting blood work like every week or every 2 weeks, and that like was that really sucked. I hated doing that. I felt like a pincushion because I was literally at the same Quest location. I know all the Quest people now that work there, and I had to like take the streetcar there every day, like once every week, and it wasn't like draining. It was just more like busy work, and it felt really annoying. But I mean, it was worth it at least to like track myself and keep everything surveillanced.
So Sloan lets you do your blood work down there and then your scans up in New York.
Yeah, they're okay with my stuff being done down here because it's essentially the same thing as them doing it. There's no difference. But the scans they want done at MSK to make sure that their radiologists are reading it and it's like their equipment that's doing it and they can monitor it themselves.
Yeah. What about your support? I mean, I know your mom is in our support group, but like, how has your family been? Your friends from high school, are you still in touch with them? Are they checking themselves? Like, what's that all been like?
That's all my friends have been very supportive about it. Parents, of course, have always been like very supportive about me and all that kind of stuff, and they always ask me how everything is. Um, my friends back home, I see them like every time I'm back. I see them in I think 2 weeks when everyone gets back to play poker because we always play together. It's a way to keep connected. Um, so and they're always supportive. But I mean, they joke about it with me, and I'm okay with that because like it's a way for me to like what's the word like laugh about something that happened to me. I guess like it's my way to like cope with it. I guess so. Like they always make jokes, but then they're serious about it, and they're very supportive about me and stuff like that. If I need anything, they always call. My friend called me like 2 weeks ago, just like check up and see how everything was going, and then also playing poker. But um, they're always supportive about it, and I have a therapist back home who's also very supportive of me. Always asks how everything's going. He calls me like once a week, just check in and stuff like that. So I think I've had a very very good support group going through all of this.
So were you in therapy prior to your diagnosis, or is that something that you started after?
Yeah, I've been in therapy for like 5 years. I originally went because I have OCD, so I originally went for that, just like psychotherapy treatment, and that's all like normalized now. I mean, the cancer did kind of like reignite the OCD a little bit, but I was able to like, I went with him more and more, like more frequent calls, just like kind of tame it down. But it's definitely helped a lot to have like a therapist through all this.
Yeah. What's the because everybody gets this anxiety. I can't imagine what it's like with OCD. I mean, can you talk about that and your feeling of having cancer return?
Yeah, I I definitely get scan anxiety with the blood work. I mean, I don't know why, but the blood work gives me more anxiety than like the scans. I don't know what it is about it, but the blood. I think it's because I hate blood work. I despise blood work. Don't know why. Just despise it. Also because I pass out. I guess that's probably it. I pass out usually, but I despise blood work. I hate blood work. So I think the blood work gives me like a lot of anxiety. I mean, I think the CAT scans are kind of cool, I guess. I don't know if that's because I like medicine, but I think the CAT scans are cool. So normally they don't give me that much anxiety. And also the CAT scans, they like, at least MSK pumps them out like a day later and they immediately tell you what's going on and stuff. So they definitely do give me a little bit of anxiety, but I mean, especially my parents help me manage it. I guess like I know my mom honestly gets worse anxiety than me. But they definitely do help me manage it and like think like, oh, like if anything were to happen, like this is what we do, and like and then there's like a way to go about it if anything were to happen and stuff like that. So like it minimizes my stress at least.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I mean, I guess the therapist was very beneficial during treatment as well. Maybe that's something anybody listening, if they're just been diagnosed, maybe they should go ahead and start it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he he originally was like more of like a behavioral therapist, and like treating OCD, and then he became more of like a what's the word? I literally learned about this a couple of weeks ago in psychology class. Humanistic therapist, and like just kind of like helping me like become like a better person and stuff like that. And I think like having someone to talk to that isn't like you aren't like necessarily related to them or like best friends with them and stuff like that. And like they can just be like honest and truthful with you and stuff like that is very useful to have as an outlet, especially going through this. It's very useful to have someone that you can just kind of like rant to and let all your feelings out. And they won't pass judgment on to you on that. They'll just listen and kind of like not really guide you, but give you like some tips on how to manage your stress and stuff like that.
That's great. As I think you might be the youngest we've had on the podcast. I think you're 19 now, I believe, but
Yeah.
you were diagnosed at 18. So what advice would you have for, your fellow college students around the country and the world?
Um, Definitely check yourself. I mean, I don't know if I could have caught it sooner because it really wasn't that big of a tumor, but definitely check yourself. I mean, it takes like not even a minute of being in the shower to like kind of check yourself. I think that's like the biggest advice, and like also don't be like be open like with like a support group about it. Like my parents are very open about my health with them because like I'm just blunt, I guess, with how I am, but um like be open with them. Like your parents will definitely take you seriously, and there's nothing to like feel bad about it. Like it's a serious like health risk that you have. So like if anything's wrong, like be open about it, be honest, because the sooner you catch it, like I didn't go through that much treatment because I caught it so soon, and I'm very grateful for that. So I think that's like definitely check yourself, and if something feels wrong, like advocate for yourself and like push to get seen or stuff like that, because like just sitting and waiting doesn't do anything. It just makes the prognosis worse in the end.
Great advice. What are you studying?
I'm studying cell molecular biology, hoping to do an advanced nursing program and then eventually go to CRNA school or PA school and then specialize in like just like a field like um, my friend shadowed a neurosurgeon who had a PA that specialized in neurosurgery, which is a really cool thing that I found. And I think CRNA is like the end goal though, definitely because I love anesthesiology. And then at MSK, I had a CRNA too who was awesome. And it was very like kind of like I don't know open and told me everything was going to happen and stuff like that. Um, but I also just love science, I guess, and I love medicine. So
Once again, the man's a genius. So do you think your experience with testicular cancer and the surgeries you've had will shape your future path at all?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think it definitely pushed me more to go to medicine because I was still on the fence about doing medicine or engineering because I just love like math and science and stuff like that. So I was still on like the fence of debating which one to do. And then all this happened and I was like, yeah, I think medicine is the way to go. Not only because I love it, but because like it's a way for me to get back to like everyone that's gonna help me through like what I've gone through. Like maybe I can help someone else go through this and stuff like that. I definitely think it's like the right calling to me at least.
Perfect. Where can people find you on social if anybody wants to reach out and talk to you?
Yeah, my socials are all. I think my Instagram's Hunter.Addy. I think all my socials are that. Let me check what my LinkedIn is, just in case people want to check that out. I think it's all. Yeah, my LinkedIn is just my full name, Hunter Addy, but everything else is like Hunter.Addy. I use the same handle on everything because very basic and don't know how to think of username. But yeah, everything is Hunter.Addy.
I think in 15 years, I think that'll be the best decision is just doing your name rather than having like my Xbox gamer tag is stupid and I wish it wasn't what it was. But
Yeah, my Xbox username is literally my name almost essentially. Again, I'm basic and I don't know how to make a name.
cool. Hunter, thank you so much for being on It Takes Balls.
Thank you so much for having me.
For more information and resources for your testicular cancer journey, visit testicularcancerawarenessfoundation.org.